Hello, Raymond McCabe, aka as Mr. Know-It-All. Commonwealth of Uncommon Knowledge College. It's important that we talk about things that are very relevant to a lot of things. Self-preservation, one of them. Some of the earliest inventions were weapons, ways to defend and protect the cave, a rock tied to a stick. Things have gotten better. And as you can see before me is a literal mechanical genius collection of art that shoot. Each one of these has a specific use, enjoyment, protection, defense, overall pride of ownership. Guns are a good investment from the standpoint that they cost more today than they did yesterday. And with the current political strains on firearms in the Second Amendment, learning to use them, the types they are, what to look for, what to expect when you buy or purchase a firearm. Now, let's start with some of the older construction technologies. This one in particular was designed by Mr. Luger in the 1930s, late 20s, early 30s. Now this is a .22 caliber, which is a very small but very dangerous little bullet. There's been lots of people and animals and harvested and hunted, lots of paper punched with the .22 long rifle rimfire. This little particular pistol uses a magazine that these are loaded into, goes into the grip of the gun. It is a toggle action. In other words, when the gun is fired, the gases releasing the bullet, pushing it out the chamber, push the cartridge back. And in doing that, this toggle bolt, and drop it again, this toggle bolt comes back, makes a function of throwing out the old case or ejecting, and then installing the new bullet ready for the firearm to be fired again. Every time you pull the trigger, you get this action and action until the magazine is complete. It serves well. It's been made in many calibers. This is by the Stoger Arms Company. The gun was made in '60, and it's a very fine shooter. Some that look very familiar here are what we call revolvers. A revolver is a firearm that uses the rotation of a cylinder which contains the cartridges or the bullets. The bullets are in the cartridge. And when this is in the gun ready to fire, every time the trigger is pulled, the cylinder rotates to put another fresh cartridge in front of the firing pin. Now, you never want to put your hand like this when you're using a revolver. The gas exiting, because we don't have a perfect seal, the gas exiting will blow your fingers off. It's a very dangerous scenario. You can hold the gun in the palm of your hand or double grip, but never let your fingers or any part of your hand get past the front of the cylinder. Now, they all operate basically the same. We have a switch on this one that you push down. That opens the cylinder so you can load and unload it. Now, this is a Dan Wesson brand. It's a very fine quality .357, which is a .38 caliber, just souped up. .357 was invented for the FBI, by the way, in the late 30s. This is a Smith & Wesson. It's a Target model, .38 Special, .357 Magnum also. It has its switch on the side right here, but the basic function is still the same. Every time the trigger is pulled, the cylinder rotates to advance another cartridge. It's a good, accurate gun. It has target sights. It makes nice, pretty patterns on paper. Relatively small grips compared to the larger Dan Wesson, but it fits the hand nicely. Well-balanced piece. Smith & Wesson makes excellent handguns in many calibers. Now we have some automatics. You've heard the name Saturday Night Special. This is a true Saturday Night Special. This little gun was made in Industry City, California in 1960. It's a Raven, .25 caliber. It's the smallest of the cartridges designed by the same man that designed this. When Browning and Luger worked together, they decided on a cartridge that would be effective as a weapon, economical to produce, and readily available. That's a 9mm cartridge. Many of these styles weapons or semi-automatics are designed to fit the 9mm, but they all basically use the same configuration of cartridge shape. Now that means that the cartridge fits the chamber and there's no gap. The bullet, the casing fits right up against the inside of the barrel. That's the headspace ability. It's one of the design functions of this particular type of cartridge. This may be recognizable as a 45 Colt style. Now this is a Llama. This was made in Spain in 1938. It's an extremely fine weapon. It's an extremely accurate weapon. As you'll see, all of these cartridges have the similar configuration. That's because they're basically designed and based on one particular man's innovation when it came to the design of bullets and the configuration to make them efficient. The 45 shoots a bullet a little bit bigger than your little finger. It's a man stopper. It's an extremely enjoyable firearm to shoot, and it's relatively economical. It does a good job for self-defense. That's why the militaries of so many countries have used it for many years. We get into style and function. This is a 9mm by 38. Now that's a special German-Russian cartridge that is utilized in a double action pistol, which double action means just like this. When you pull this trigger, when you pull the trigger, the hammer activates each time. Well, the same with this little gun's trigger. When you pull it, it activates. But with that moving back and forth, entering and ejecting, every time you pull that trigger, it cycles until its magazine is empty. Now that's the way that particular firearm works. There again, this is a 380 caliber. This is a relatively small little handgun, but it's incredibly powerful. This is your James Bond special right here. This is a Walther PK. Okay, it's a double action, high quality little pistol. They're as good as they get, smooth to operate, easy for a woman to shoot. As the Second Amendment comes under more and more persecution, people's right to keep and bear arms comes under more and more pressure. This is a 9mm. It's made by High Point Industries in Ohio. It's an extremely good little plinking gun. It shoots this particular round right there, which is the 9mm. And it's a semi-automatic. Every time you shoot, the recoil operates the bolt and injects a new bullet every time. And it's a very fun little gun to shoot, and they're economical to reload. All of these, except for the 25 caliber, are economical to reload. The 25 is the smallest of the design of the Browning cartridge system. It is minimal, it's a frightening weapon. That's about all it does. So you want to keep your pistols big enough to use and enjoy shooting them. Thanks for letting me give you my ability and knowledge on firearms. Thanks for the Second Amendment. God bless you.